Hey there, it's Tiger Todd here for Hero School. And what I thought I'd do, since we're all kind of confined to our homes, is go back through, taking the time to go back through the key books. And I found about 30 key books that found clues to this thing that became Hero School, the hero movement, and then Marvel movies, building around the archetype not just of a hero, but of the expert, the exercises, all the parts of my hero formula, now 25 years old. But some of the books are fantastic, and some of the books are current, but they're based on some timeless wisdom. I mean, for example, we might have James Allen as a man thinketh, so I'll do a video including reading directly from these people. I won't just tell you what it says. I'd love to read a section of it, and so this might come out in a day or two. On the 80-20 principle, we have 80-20 sales and marketing. But the Pareto Principle, as most of us know it from 100 years ago, it began as a economist who actually discovered in his own garden, I believe in Louisiana, that 20% of the pea pods in his garden contained 80% of the peas. Anyway, there's a fantastic section in this book that I'll read for you. Let's see. We're going to read some Abraham Maslow, The Farther Reaches of Human Nature. And, we have the Talent Code. We have Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. Eric Burns, Games People Play. We have just a litany of amazing pieces of literature, foundational to the character change psychology that we developed so many years ago. But today, picking one to begin with, let's read a little from Dr. M. Scott Peck's amazing work, The Road Less Traveled. This is later in Chapter 1, Chapter 2, a section he calls Problem Solving and Time. I guess if there ever was something needed today, gosh, all those hardworking folks in our medical and health sciences, if there was ever a time to reactivate our ability to solve a problem, now would be it. So let's just read a little of this. Problem Solving and Time, The Road Less Traveled, Dr. M. Scott Peck. Having touched upon some of the ways in which parental love, or its lack of, may influence the development of self-discipline in general, and the capacity to delay gratification in particular, let us examine some of the more subtle yet quite devastating ways in which difficulties in delaying gratification affect the lives of most adults. For while most of us, fortunately, develop sufficient capacity to delay gratification to make it through high school or college or embark upon adulthood without landing in jail, our development nonetheless tends to be imperfect and incomplete, with the result that our ability to solve life's problems is still imperfect and incomplete. At the age of 37, I learned how to fix things. Prior to that time, almost all my attempts to make minor plumbing repairs, mend toys, or assemble boxed furniture, according to the accompanying hieroglyphical instruction sheet, ended in confusion, failure, and frustration. Despite having managed to make it through medical school and support a family as a more or less successful executive and psychiatrist, I considered myself to be a mechanical idiot. I was convinced I was deficient in some gene, or by some curse of nature lacking some mystical quality responsible for mechanical ability. Then one day, at the end of my 37th year, while taking a spring Sunday walk, I happened upon a neighbor in the process of repairing a lawnmower. After greeting him, I remarked, "Boy, I sure do admire you. I've never been able to fix those things or do anything like that." My neighbor, without a moment's hesitation, shot back, "That's because you don't take the time." I resumed my walk, somehow disquieted by the guru-like simplicity, spontaneity, and definitiveness of his response. You don't suppose he could be right, do you? I asked myself. Somehow it registered, and the next time the opportunity presented itself to make a minor repair, I was able to remind myself to take my time. The parking brake was stuck on a patient's car, and she knew that there was something one could do under the dashboard to release it, but she didn't know what. I lay down on the floor below the front seat of the car. Then I took the time to make myself comfortable. Once I was comfortable, I then took the time to look over the situation. I looked for several minutes. At first, all I saw was a confusing jumble of wires and tubes and rods, whose meaning I did not know. But gradually, in no hurry, I was able to focus my sight on the brake apparatus and trace its course, and then it became clear to me that there was a little latch preventing the brake from being released. I slowly studied this latch until it became clear to me that if I were to push it upward with the tip of my finger, it would move easily and would release the brake. And so I did this. One single motion, 1 ounce of pressure from a fingertip, and the problem was solved. I was a master mechanic. Actually, I don't begin to have the knowledge or the time to gain that knowledge to be able to fix most mechanical failures, given the fact that I choose to concentrate my time on non-mechanical matters. So I still usually go running to the nearest repairman. But I now know that this is a choice that I make, and I'm not cursed or genetically defective or otherwise incapacitated or impotent. And I know that I and anyone else who is not mentally defective can solve any problem if we are willing to take the time. He goes on to say, the issue is important because many people simply do not take the time necessary to solve many of life's intellectual, social, or spiritual problems. Before my mechanical enlightenment, I would have awkwardly stuck my head under the dashboard of my patient's car, immediately yanked at a few wires without having the foggiest idea of what I was doing, and then, when nothing constructive resulted, would have thrown up my hands and proclaimed, "It's beyond me." And this is precisely the way that so many of us approach other dilemmas of day-to-day living. The aforementioned financial analyst was a basically loving and dedicated but rather helpless mother of 2 young children, a prior example. She was alert and concerned enough to perceive when her children were having some sort of emotional problem or when something was not working out in her child raising. But then she inevitably took one of 2 courses of action with the children. Either she made the very first change that came to her mind within a matter of seconds, making them eat more breakfast or setting them to bed earlier, regardless of whether such a change had anything to do with the problem, or else she came to her next therapy session with me, the repairman, despairing, quote, "It's beyond me. What shall I do?" This woman had a perfectly keen and analytical mind, and when she didn't procrastinate, she was quite capable of solving complex problems at work. So, The Road Less Traveled, the first copy that I bought was about, I believe it was 2002, and already it was the 25th anniversary edition. An incredible work by Dr. M. Scott Peck. Have used sections of it, my own conclusions to his incredible insight. He also has one of the books we're going to cover. He does a chapter on what Carl Jung called the shadow, and just incredibly insightful work. He was just a champion for humans being able to take back control of their lives, of things they thought they didn't have control over. So Tiger Todd with Hero School, sharing some readings this week for the next probably 14 to 30 days, or I've got a lot of books. And of course I've got a lot of heroabilia, so maybe we'll get through that next while we're home. You be safe out there. I look forward to seeing you all soon.